How's it going, everyone? It is Thursday, August 1st, 2024. First video of the new month. Let's go over the picks from the last video, which was WDC time spread. So I took a decent profit on this, a small profit. I took a 20% profit on this position. I got in yesterday. Let's go to the M5 chart here. I got in yesterday at 35 cents debit, and then I exited today at a 41-cent credit. Had originally my order out for about 55 cents, and once this WDC chart comes in, we'll take a look at that. But we had an expected move, and if I pull up this setup here, we had an expected move of 10%, average move of 3.7%. And you can see that it has actually exceeded that expected move now, but you had a chance to take profits in the open. So we're just going to let this guy load, and then we're going to take a look at this chart. Okay, we are back. So here is WDC. So I got in at the time spread somewhere around here. And originally I was actually going to take it after the FOMC. But then I saw Dan talk about how taking it before the FOMC, you can benefit from extra IV crush and take some decent profits the day of. So I took it before. He was able to take about a 25% profit on that. I wasn't able to get my fill, so I held the trade overnight. Took about a 20% profit this morning. So we had this nice long green candle, which I liked. We had a big gap down, which I wasn't a fan of, but I always wait to see what the gap down does. Big long green candle through the SMA. Okay, that's a good sign. Red candle going back to the SMA. Wasn't a fan of that. We did hold half of it, but then I actually end up taking the profits right here. I wasn't exactly sure if this is the right move or not. Maybe this candle goes up here. Maybe it retraces lower. It's really hard to get a good sense. And my default onto time spreads is to be really kind of extra nimble on these. You can see that after a couple of tails over here, tails above bodies, the stock is unable to advance, and then we get the crackdown. So over here, you're actually probably able to get closer to like a 50-cent credit, or even like a 51, 52% credit, which is way closer to like a 40 to 50 to even 60% gain on the time spread. So wasn't able to get that fill, but still able to get the dub. So, happens. That's just a part of trading the time spread over here. Current positions we are in. We still have JMIA long. Let's take a look at this guy. Whoops, that's my tags. Let's go to my YouTube picks. Remove him. So JMIA has been holding up decently well, but not really been rallying in this last part of the market rally, I should say. Had a little bit of selling pressure, poking a little bit below this level, but so far actually pretty relatively strong considering the day that we're having on SPY. So not making any snap judgments here, but I want to see it have some tail and close kind of right around its support over here and start to make a move higher. So far, when I took this stock somewhere here at around 1360, this is the stock on the 22nd. This is the market on the 22nd. You can see that the market has gone down, kind of not gone too much anywhere here. This stock has come down a little bit here, not able to beat the highs. I did see earlier when I took this trade, so when I first took it on the 12th, I saw that there was potentially a profit target not a profit target, a price target from some institutions at $14. So it looks like that is sticking a little bit here. I may have to weight that more heavily in the future. I'm also trading against the market here. So I know I'm in a good stock. I don't have a ton of stocks on right now, so I have some time to have some staying power in this stock. And if this does close over here, it could be a pretty decent little bearish reversal. Now I got to see what the market does. I got to see what the earnings amount for this week. So I'm not really making any snap judgments here. I'm just kind of in the position. All right. ASTS is our next one. This stock is doing excellent. Look at this stock on a day like today, right? Holding all of the gains while the market's going down. I am going to ride this stock longer. And this is the mental part that I'm really trying to work on here. This stock is a winner. This stock wants to go higher. We're just not getting any market lift. Let's look at what happened the first couple of days. So we had a pretty decent bearish day on the 30th. Stock held, or let's go from the day we entered. So we entered somewhere here. at July 26th. Here's the stock on July 26th. So digest the gains, a little bit of selling over here, and then it's able to make a new high on a gap up and on a day where the market doesn't do too much after the gap up, but the stock rallies pretty well. On a deal over here, market is selling off pretty hard. ASDS is holding all the gains, just compressing over here. Not really caring too much what happens on this intraday chart. I like what I'm seeing here on the daily chart. So I'm treating this like any sort of price action on the intraday chart. These price patterns are fractal, and I can ride this stock a little bit higher and probably ride it towards earnings. So I like what I'm seeing here. This is probably one target at this high plus trend line somewhere around $23. And then we have the all-time high coming into play at 25 something right here, 25.37. So probably $25 is when that would be a pretty hard price target for me. And that would be a fantastic trade. So I'm kind of willing to give this guy some room. We're watching to see what the market does. We're watching to see what this stock does over here. I'm willing to ride this guy out a little bit. So let's see what the market is doing on a shorter term basis. We have, first of all, we got this market decline. Again, we're still mildly bullish fundamentally. FOMC, we got some news coming out this week. And let's take a look at some of the news coming out before we consider what is left to go. So a couple things we learned from this month over here. First of all, we had cooler than expected CPI. We had a little bearish trend day. Some bank earnings started. They were doing okay. GDP Q2 came a little bit better than expected. Let's look at the economic news first. So CPI a little cooler than expected. GDP a little better than expected. PC deflator was fairly in line, 2.6 versus 2.5. The GDP Q2 was 2.8 versus 2.0 expected. Earnings was a little bit bearish on the first run. Google and Tesla were slightly bearish. Microsoft was flat, and then Meta was bullish, but it didn't have a huge market impact at first. We also had ISM manufacturing come out this morning. We had a bearish reaction on ISM manufacturing. 49 was expected. We got 43.4. So fairly bearish reaction. A lot of tech stocks are down today. A lot of industrials were down after this as well. I think for tech stocks, they had hit the 50 SMA, so we saw some selling at that level. If I go to XLI, you can see that there was a lot of selling over here. Gap down as well. And that ISM reaction came up over here. Nice red candle, and then a lot of heavy selling after that. Unemployment comes out tomorrow. Apple and Amazon earnings come out tomorrow. So far, I think the reaction from this week of earnings, we're still kind of digesting the gains. I think starting Monday to next week, we'll really see the true move. But it hasn't been insanely bullish so far. We've seen some selling into mega cap tech. We've seen some risk off. We've seen a little bit of rotation into RSP and IWM. I mentioned earlier that this is good on a broadening basis, but right now RSP, really big candle. Let's look at IWM today. How that's holding up. Yeah, fairly big candle on that. QQQ, not doing as bad. There is a little bit of strength in tech, a little bit of reaction, but seems like the non-tech stocks are faring a little bit better. So, again, we're gauging this bounce. If it's a pretty decent bounce, we're able to get back to the all-time high. We're able to, get to that move quickly with more green candles, orderly action over here. Then we could get something good. I'm watching to see if we get something kind of like here what we happened in April and May, right? Where we get this mega cap tech news, we have it's a pretty similar scenario, right? Where we have a light volume drift, we have a market sell-off, decent market decline, market is digesting the gains over here. We're having this a little bit of an upward sloping wide channel. After we digest the gains, after the FOMC statement, we get the launch off, and then we get a nice rally higher. So if you see, we have a fairly similar setup over here. Where we have the sell-off over here, finding some support at the 50 SMA. We got some upward sloping trend lines coming into play. We get a bearish reaction today. We still have Apple and Amazon earnings. And then next week, we might get that little bit of liftoff. Now, just because that happened in the past, I'm not saying that's going to happen today, but that is something that I am watching for. Now, if we get a really weak volume, kind of like a weak mixed price action kind of move here, choppy, gappy, lots of red candles, lots of tails above bodies, lots of wicks, Then I'm going to be more inclined to expect a double top. And then when the market starts to roll over, that's when I would take the short side, take some nice swing shorts on that position. Let's look at cost over here. Big fan of cost. Looks like it's digesting, catching up to that 8 EMA. So this one is on my radar. I'm going to have an alert set somewhere over here on that stock. We'll pull back to that 8 EMA, and then we are in good shape. See, leg down, compressing, leg down, compressing. So I like it when it's kind of catching out of this compression over here. All right. So that is our longer term market bias. Technically, we're still bullish, but we know that we're getting closer to a juncture moment, right? Again, we're evaluating the trend strength of this bounce. If it's a strong trend, again, speed, organization, volume. Those are some factors to look at. And if you're ever confused, again, just go back to what happened early in the year, right? Speed, organization, volume. We got some good volume here. We covered a lot of distance very quickly, right? Speed is distance over time. So a lot of distance very, very quickly. And usually that takes green candles. And in bull markets, I feel like we tend to get these gaps up versus very long green candles. Versus on the way down, we seem to get very long red candles. It was a similar sort of story here, right? Gap, gap. The gaps were responsible for a lot of the gains that we saw over here. Versus here, it goes ka-chunk, 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 right? We get these long, heavy selling throughout the day. So just something I've noticed. Okay, shorter term market time frame here. I was mildly bullish coming into today. I was still cautious because of mega cap tech. If you look at the chart here, we had some selling, a lot of compression over here. We broke that compression, tried to rally, can't get anything going here. And now we're starting to break back and fill some of that gap. So right now, more neutral on the shorter term time frame. On the M5 today, I want to walk through my game plan and adjusting my game plan. So my game plan coming in today was I actually did not expect really a bearish trend day, to say the least. And here's why. So yesterday we had a gap up, right? We held the gap. We managed to rally a little bit higher, and then we're compressing dead before Fed. We get Fed reaction, then we get a counter reaction, and we kind of close pretty much like nothing had ever happened, right? Here's the close. You can see that fairly in line. We didn't really move too much. So I was like, all right, well, we have a move up. And then what should have been a pullback, we kind of compressed a little bit. And then now we have a gap up. We're inching a little bit higher. So earlier in the day, I was like, look, we have a little move here. Let's see if this is a little retest of this level. I like this little candle. If this green candle holds, then I feel pretty comfortable about getting long. So I figured that there was a couple scenarios that could happen. The first was I thought that we could have a nice little early rally in the first half of the day and maybe we die. The second part is maybe we just have a dead day as we're waiting before the earnings. The third reaction I saw was that we could have maybe some two-sided price action, but I didn't feel like that was as likely given that we've already kind of cleared the gap. Bulls sort of had some control. So and I didn't think we'd get a really bearish trend day. Now, obviously, I was wrong. So how was I wrong? Well, the first thing was that we poked through this gap here, and we started to fill in this gap, right? So when we filled in this gap, it was looking pretty good. And here was a couple of key tells. The first one was that we poked into here, and we didn't get a green candle back. This could have been a green candle, and then we got a bearish hammer. Decent volume on this. Okay. So we filled in the gap. Same thing, another large bearish hammer. I'm like, all right, this is fairly bearish. But let's see what the next candle is also going to be like. And then see how we made a new low very quickly after that bearish candle. That is a sign, right? That means that we got over here and then we immediately made a new low. Tells us that selling pressure is very strong. Again, another bearish candle, another new low, another new low. The selling pressure is going on and on and on. Buyers can't actually get any lift off. And at every sort of major level, we're getting these pauses for maybe a bar or two, and then we kind of keep going. So here's a little bit of pullback here, and then we get the next leg lower. And now the stock market, or not the market, I guess, is rallying a little bit higher. So we finally get the first bounce, which is what we want because we're approaching the 50-day SMA. which comes into play 543.62. So a little bit of a bounce, and then I think that'll give us the right amount of fuel to test that SMA. It's coming into play right around here. If I were to draw a line somewhere right there. So I want to see nice little bounce and then some tails above bodies. That tells me that sellers are still in here. I want to see some weak candles, ideally some mixed candles here just to lure in some bullish specs. And then we get another leg lower. So this bounce is what I'm going to be looking for, some relatively weak shorts to get some day trades off. Okay. So that is the game plan for today. To reiterate, long-term market bias, still mildly bullish. Short-term market bias, neutral. Intraday bias is bearish. I'm probably a -2, potentially even a -3 bearish. I mean, this is a really strong move, and I wasn't quite expecting it. It tells me that buyers don't have as much control as they thought. Because if buyers had a lot of control, we wouldn't see this sort of move into the gap like this, right? This is organized selling. It's not like we had it wasn't like we had one long red candle and then, some little bit of choppy compressed price action. This is steady selling on good volume. That tells us that sellers have control. And we want to favor the short side. So let's go to the tags for today. Got a couple of stocks on my radar. And let's look at what is setting up today. So let's start from maybe the not as best to the least best. DLTR, not as weak today as I would have liked. Not a ton of volume on the stock, getting dragged down a little bit by the market. But I like this breakout from D1 compression. Now we have to be careful because, and if I take out this these trend lines here, broke through this level here, we don't want a little poke. You can see how it has these couple of pokes and then we get sucked back in the range. Poke, suck back, right? So we know that there's some strong resistance here, but we also know that there is some support here. So if I were to draw a level right around here, all right, we broke through this level. Now we're coming back. So I'm going to set an LRSI alert. And if we can get an LRSI alert and also maybe a sell signal, whoops, the day, let's put in a sell signal, a 1OP sell signal here. I wouldn't mind taking that as a short. MGM, very nice short post earnings. Let's take a look at this guy, see if it's bouncing. Yeah, beautiful short post earnings. I liked it earlier in the day. Stock, a nice move, and then it's kind of getting into this bottoming out process. You can see some green candles starting to lose some of its strength, so waiting for a little bit of a pullback. I'm also going to set an LRSI alert here, as well as an HA reversal, and perhaps even an upward sloping trend line. It's a little bit too steep. Not crazy about that. I think I'm going to set something like this, maybe. It's a little bit steep, but it may get the job done. So I like MGM. Looks like it had to sound a little bit of support on this bounce trend line here. If I go to now, okay, this is 102L now, so it's hitting this. But post-earnings stocks they really do have the volume to break through that. Now, Spot was looking real nice today, and then it formed a bearish hammer, so don't want to really trade that. mRNA, also an interesting stock. Gap down. Gap down, tested the upside, couldn't get anything going. Long red candle. This actually could have been a decent short, but really not the best pick in my opinion. I think there are better shorts out there. Anet, also very strong, and then it got a bearish hammer. Ulta, I think, is really, really nice. I love this breakdown on Ulta. You can see that beautiful compression break close to that 8 EMA. Just been selling off the whole day. Now it's in this bottoming out process. Still very, very weak relative to the market, not bouncing. There might still be a little bit of meat left in the bone. I'd want to see a breakdown through the low of the day on this stock, but Ulta may be my pick of the day. My second pick over here may be Airbnb. Very, very similar price action. Compressing, didn't rally at all with the market, and now breaking through on very, very heavy volume. You can see it's already starting to crack down. 1OP is starting to crest a little bit over here. We're getting some tails above bodies. I like what I'm seeing in these stocks, so I may take some day trades on these picks right here. Yeah, I think Airbnb short, Ultra Short are going to be your day trade picks for today. I think I'm going to take them probably right now. I'm going to wait till that candle close. The other pick that I'm going to give while this loads is a earnings time spread, and that is going to be Square. So I looked at a couple of these. Sava is pretty nice, but Sava's had a pretty huge run up. I think it's also biotech, so there may be some news priced into this guy. It makes me a little bit more suspicious of this stock. So not crazy about Sava. On paper, it's a good setup, but the price action tells you that something suspicious is going on here. Square, you can see that it does exceed earnings 13.3% of the time, which is a little bit higher than I would like, but the difference justifies that. 1.6 is a massive difference, and for a stock that has good price. So really happy with Square over here. So that's probably going to be my earnings time spread pick of the day. I'm going to add these to our YouTube picks. All right. And that is going to be it for today. So thank you for watching, everyone. And we'll take a look at how these picks did in tomorrow's video.